Good afternoon and welcome to our webinar, What is University Coaching? We are excited to have all of you joining us here today. My name is Christine Self with Parent and Family Relations, and joining me today are Claudia Hernandez and Sarah Dameron from University Coaching. This webinar is part of our Parent and Family webinar series, where we share information on topics of interest to Red Raider families. We hope this webinar will help you learn about a great resource on campus to help your students succeed. We plan to keep the webinar to about 30 minutes or so. If there's time at the end, we'll open it up for questions using the Zoom Q&A feature, and you're also welcome to use that feature anytime throughout the webinar to ask questions. We are recording this session and posting it to our website so that you'll be able to review it again later or share it with others, including your student. I'll also email the recording link to the email that you used to register for the webinar. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll turn it over to our University Coaching team.
Hey everyone, so glad that you can make it. My name's Thomas Kay. I'm the Assistant Director for University Coaching. So I basically steer the ship when it comes to things around the office and meet with students. We're really excited that you're taking the time to get to know us. On our next slide shows our full team. That'll include 5 full-time professional coaches that we have right here. We have different backgrounds, and it's really important for us to have students that they feel very comfortable with a coach in various facets. We also have a team of student assistants as well that can do some limited peer coaching. And if you have questions, I'll be running the chat, so I'll be trying to answer some of those. But for now, I'm going to turn over to 2 of the coaches that I think are absolute rock stars, and that's Sarah and Claudia. And they're going to spend the rest of the time talking about what we do, who we are, and what coaching is really all about.
Awesome. Well, I will get started. I would love to talk to you a little bit about our core values, just as a department, some of the things that we really like to focus on as a team. First, in that yellow block, we partner with students in pursuit of their goals. The key word there is partnership. We want to work with students not just to tell them what to do, but to partner with them to help them have autonomy in making some of those choices. That goes right along with our second core value, is that we affirm their potential and the role that they play in determining their future outcome. It is vital and important to us that we help them find the space to have a role in making those choices. And it's not just them coming to us and us giving them a path to go on, but that they're determining that path. And then finally, fostering a safe space for that. That is a hugely important thing, even especially now in this climate. And we want to make sure that we are creating a space for students to explore, to process, to grow, and identify and define meaning in the work that they're doing. We want them to come to Texas Tech and have an experience that allows them to make meaning at their time here and make the most of their time at Texas Tech. And so we kind of live on those 3 values that are most important to us, that allow us to really affirm students, partner with them, and to foster a safe space for them to grow.
So today we're going to be talking about what coaching is, defining that, how it works for all of your students here, the benefits that we've seen with coaching, and then answer any questions that you might have. So first I want to ask, what comes to mind when you think of the word coaching? What is it that you think coaches do? So you can go ahead and answer in the chat, but what do you first think of when you hear coaching? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. We have chat disabled, so only in the Q&A. If you want to respond there, or maybe raise hand too, would work. Development, yes. Sharing expertise and options for success. Awesome. Yes, maybe you thought of sports immediately. Maybe you thought of coaches that walk beside you, guide, lead. Maybe you thought of someone who's encouraging you from the sidelines. Maybe someone who is there right there on the floor with you, walking through a fitness journey with you. All of those are great examples of what coaches do. And what we specifically do at University Coaching is academic life coaching. So we're trained to work specifically with students and help them on their discovery journey. So university coaching, our main goal is to help students get to where they want to be. So we work on any areas of their life where they want to see some growth. That can be personal, that can be academic, that can be professional. There's no topic off limits in coaching. We talk about any goals that they might have, long-term, short-term, anything that they want to see in their future. So this process is basically a conversation with them where we give them opportunity to really reflect on their goals, discover what's important to them, discover what values are really guiding them. And after all of that self-reflection, they're able to come away with some action plans that help move them forward with whatever goals they have set. So coaches, we're not academic advisors. They have an awesome team for that. We are not there to tell them what to do. We trust them to come up with their own solutions that they're motivated to do. And then we're not mental health professionals. So we are not counselors where counseling digs into a little bit past things, does a lot of healing work there. We're focused on how they take that learning and how they apply it to move forward. And they also have an awesome campus mental health professional team available as well. We trust that the student knows what needs to be done. We are there to just kind of help them uncover those solutions. So through our questioning, through our conversation, we're hoping that they gather insights to help them to know what exactly it is they want to do.
So first things first, one of the things we want to address is just how does it work? And I think a lot of people get concerned. I want to just move in this blue block. The most important piece of this, coaching is free. It's something that we want people to know that if your student has an R number, which they all do, and is as part of the system in Texas Tech, that they can have coaching as many times as they want to come and make their plans to come without any charge. It's not one of these that's free the first time, it's free every time. It is part of a series of things that they're already paying for. And so they have an opportunity to come and use this service. Drop-in appointments are available with Peer Life Coaches for academic topics. And when we say peer life coaches, we're talking about other students that have been trained to do coaching and to do academic coaching that allows them to grow, but it is only on those academic topics. We feel like those deeper life-based topics are really more appropriate for professional coaches. And those can be scheduled using Rader Success Hub. That's a new system that students are scheduling through here on campus or by contacting us directly. And we're going to give you all that information at the end of this. Really important piece of how this works. Let me move into that red block. Students determine how often they meet. So what we do is we give them an opportunity to be able to speak to how often they need to be talking with someone one-on-one. How often do they want to be held accountable for those goals that they might be setting? We have students that come once a week because they know that that regular accountability is super helpful to them. We also have students that'll come maybe once a month after they've established some patterns, or they might even come. I have a couple of students that come every other week. That's a little better for them. I have some students that even say, I'm going to come see you 3 weeks in a row at the beginning of every semester. And unless something goes crazy in my life, they will make a change and they might come see me if there's a crisis or if something is going on. But for the most part, they're setting up their semester and then they move forward. And I see them again at the beginning of every semester to start that strong semester stride. Sessions typically will last between 30 and 50 minutes. We do block off an hour for every student just to make sure they have the time, depending on how deep that topic might go or how insightful they're intending on being that day. But we like to say we need at least 30 minutes to make sure we really get to the bottom of any issue and really explore all of the options the way that a student might want to. And that's really up to them as well. In a lot of ways, there's things that we want to make sure that we give them the freedom to do. So if a student has a class and they're like, I only have an hour break, I can't come for 60 minutes. Absolutely not a problem. We love to work with those schedules and allow them to have transportation time between questions as well. Coaching occurs year round. It's not dictated by semester. So it's not like you sign up for coaching, you have to come for all of fall 23. It's simply something that's allowed per appointment, per just based on the needs of that student. And we even will say if a student is on an extended break or if they're gone for this summer and have goals that they've been reaching, we don't want to lose that trajectory or that accountability or that coaching relationship. We want them to know that they can come at any point. If I'm on duty, I'm here to coach, and we're here most of spring break. We're here during the summer. We're here during quite a bit of the holiday break between semesters. And so we don't want anybody to lose that trajectory as they go. And so that's a little bit more about us. We'd love to dive into a next step, and we'll move ahead in our presentation, but I want to ask you to participate. What we've learned about coaching is that it's really hard to explain what it is without just having somebody dive in and do it. And I just want to speak as a parent as well. This is a process that I now use on my kids. I have college age students in my house that are my kiddos, and I am learning now that there are ways that I can talk to them, ways that I can ask about their life and encourage them as a coach that I wouldn't have before. And so I'm going to encourage you to kind of jump in with me. If you have something to write on, if you're a journaler, this would be a great journal exercise for you. So I'm just going to ask you to do some reflective thinking. I think it's hard to understand what coaching is unless you engage the part of you that's really thinking through your stuff. So I'm going to ask you not to answer for your student, but to answer for yourself here as we go through this. I'll use the process of coaching. We call this journal coaching or reflective coaching. I'm going to use that process to kind of explain how coaching works. And so I'll walk you through kind of this cycle of these 4 steps of a coaching session. But anybody participating, even our staff that are with us today, if you're interested in participating in the coaching process, I highly recommend it. We're just going to walk you through a coaching session essentially. And we do that by asking questions primarily rather than giving advice. And so I'll give an example of that. I'm going to give some pauses as I ask those questions. And so it'll give you an opportunity maybe to even write down questions that mean more to you and you want more time to think about. But it may also give you a time to think. And so I'll kind of take us in and out of that coaching space as I explain the process of coaching. But I highly recommend that you dive in and just embrace it and see what it is you might learn from the opportunity of learning what coaching is. So step 1 in any coaching session is going to be the check-in. The check-in is going to be not just informal. It's not just a chance where I'm saying, hey, how's your week? How are you doing? Of course, I care about those things. Absolutely. Those things affect our week. They affect our academic stability, our humaning, getting through the day. But it's a more intentional process than just how are you doing? And it's usually the result of a previous session where I'm saying, how are you? How are you showing up today after the action steps or the things or the plans that we made from last week? And so I'm just going to ask you, if you've got a piece of paper, if you're willing to participate or even just think about these things, I'm going to start asking questions as though we're coaching. Normally, you'd be replying to me. And so this question might seem a little more vague than it would be, but I would be asking questions, and I'm trained to ask questions based on the response that you give me. So while these responses may not come back to me, I'm going to be asking a lot of questions that might reflect questions I would ask should I hear your answers. So just as you're thinking, and I'm going to give pause between these, so don't be deterred by the silence, but what's working for you? Start reflecting on that. What is going well for you in your life? By contrast, what's not working? I'd encourage you to be as honest with yourself as you can right now. What is not going the way you want it to go? What would a home run look like in your life this week? What's that Mount Everest that you're trying to climb right now? What's that hard thing? I hope you named something that is a challenge or is something that you're ready to work on or even just acknowledge for yourself. Claudia is going to walk us through the next step. But be thinking about that thing, be mindful of it as she walks you through what this part looks like.
Yes, so you come away with hopefully something that you want to tackle this week or something that's been giving you some difficulty. So we start with setting our agenda. We want to make sure that students come away with something useful after each session and that they get the most out of their time with us. So we set our agenda, choose your topic. This could be what you just laid down as your Mount Everest or something that you want to accomplish. That would be our topic. And then we discuss what's important about that. So how do you see this challenge or this topic impacting you? How do you see it impacting other parts of your life? What would you be able to do if this thing was done? And then we go into how we would measure the success. So what would be a win for us in our conversation today? What would be good for you to come out of this time knowing or understanding?
Okay, so now we're moving on to part 3. And this is called exploring. And so I hope that as Claudia was talking, you said, okay, this is the thing I'm going to focus on just for the purpose of this exercise today. You named that Mount Everest, and then you named your topic. And when you decided, like, here's what I want out of this session, we ask that every time. So now we spend the bulk of the session talking about and exploring that specific topic that you laid down. And as coaches, what we're doing there is we're actually trying to determine, this is the focus of the session. This is the thing we're going to come back to. And when we really get your students talking, which you might be surprised that they do, but they do, when they get into what it is they really want to tackle that day, there's so many directions that could go. And so what the agenda does is it keeps us from rabbit trailing, and the exploring can really be thorough and really, really helpful. So we'll start asking things like, what are you learning in this area that you set down for yourself? What plans are seeming really challenging for you? And if you're sitting and writing and doing this exercise right now, I encourage you to consider answering that for yourself. We're trying to gain insight into not just what's the problem and what's the solution, but the most important thing about exploring is we have a lot of people on our staff in our campus that they are skilled in a help area. And a student will go to them and say, I have a problem. And that staff member says, great, I have a solution. And that is awesome. And we love our campus for that. But one of the things we want to do in coaching is say, what's that middle ground? What's getting in the way between you having a problem and someone else needing to be your solution? What parts do you need to take responsibility for in the middle? What growth do you need? Who are you being in this area and with this topic? And if you're reflecting, just do that on that topic right now. How have you shown up in this area before? Which aspects of who you were before don't serve you now? Is that why it's a new challenge? And usually in that exploring process, we start to notice a lot of learning, a lot of personal reflection where they go, oh, well, maybe this and maybe that. And there's a lot of opportunity for people to learn about themselves. And so I'll always ask, what are you learning right now? What areas are you challenged by? Is this something you feel like you should do? Or is this someone else's should for you? What do you want to do? What do you feel about this? Where does your motivation come from? What's the most challenging part of this for you? If you secretly knew what might get in the way, what is it? What would it be? Exploring has a lot of depth and it can go a lot of directions, but as coaches, we're trying to keep our mind on that topic and make sure that we get out of today's talk what a student named they wanted out of it. Then we gradually move on to step 4.
Step 4 is the action step. So this is whatever plan the student decides that they want to tackle. So this is just any good next step for you. So if you guys are journaling right now, I want you to think about what is a good next step. What is a small, tiny next step that you could commit to doing today or this week or this month that will help you move forward with your goal. So this is completely designed by the student. They come away with it. We check on how motivated they are to complete this action step. We check on how they want to show up for that action step. And it's all based on the insights that they gathered through the conversation, through the exploration. So this is any tiny next step that will help move them forward. And that is what a typical session looks like. Sarah, you're muted.
I hope you noticed that that was intended to be cyclical, and that as we have an action step come out of a session, obviously the next time we see them, they're going to go back into check-in and we're going to say, how did it go? So coaching can help with lots of different things. And that's the first thing on my list is accountability. How did it go? How did you show up for this? Did it work? Sometimes students will come in and say, it didn't work at all. And I'll go, great, we just ruled out an option. Let's pick a new one. Let's figure it out. And so that gives us an opportunity to continue to find the ways that they're most motivated and helped. It is partnered planning. And so when I say, what is your action plan? What's your step? I'm giving them an opportunity to say, I want this. I think this will work. And then I'm saying, great, I'm going to hold you to it. Do you want heart or heat? Do you want me to partner with you in a sweet, kind way? Or do you need me to come to you and say, hey, man, you didn't do it. What was the plan? Did this work for you? What would work better? How do we tweak it? And so we're asking those questions a lot. The important thing that we want to reiterate, and we tell students this a lot because it's really important to them to have this autonomy, is that it's support for growth on their own terms. The goal is that they are able to look at their plans, their life, and make choices for the way that they are going to pursue their next steps with their own autonomy, with their own independence to do it. And that partnered planning and that accountability just gives them, usually what they need is that safety net of like, does this work? Can I do it this way? And they usually are, and we believe in coaching deeply that they really know what they need already. They just, they need to feel really supported and cared for in a really good way to be able to do that. We have seen improved GPA for students that fully participate in the coaching process. And we have the data to back that up. We always say we can't guarantee your GPA is going to change. Can't guarantee your GPA is going to grow. But we have seen with students that come to 3 and 4 and 5 and continued semesters of coaching, their GPA is going up because what they're doing is they're setting their own goals. They're growing on their own terms. They're deciding how to grow and change in a way that is empowering to them. And so we see a GPA growth, and we do have the data that shows that coached students grow as students, as well as people with enhanced well-being and health. And I just have to say, Texas Tech has taken a great commitment in the well-being and health of students, as well as staff members who support them in a way that is not just academic. The support of our student body and the support of well-being and health growth has been hugely important to our community and to our Texas Tech leadership. And so just watching students be able to have a place where they don't necessarily deal with an academic issue. We know that students that are struggling with maybe a difficult roommate situation or living circumstances that are hard, that those things affect academics. We're not just here to make sure you're being great students. We're here to make sure you're being healthy and safe and whole people. And that kind of brings me to the topics list. This is by no means an exhaustive list at all. These are common topics. Sometimes students struggle with like, how do I really use coaching? And I'll say, well, where are you in these areas of your life? I won't read them all to you, but I do want to kind of give them to you as examples. Some of them, as I said, they come in and they just want to start a semester really strong. They want to have a lot of information to just be able to take on their semester with gusto. Some of them, it's living situation, it's a roommate situation, or just a space problem. Like, I don't know where to study. My space isn't quiet or something. And so we'll brainstorm with them on those ideas. Academic planning, time management, a lot of that is a very common topic for students because that's the safest conversation for them to start with us. And sometimes they go, I know you care that I'm a good student, so I'm going to start there. That usually gives us opportunity to talk about anything else they want to talk about, and it makes space for just the ability to be able to manage those things. Health, as we said, that can be physical, that can be mental health, that can just be growth as a person, the decisions that they're making to do that. Resolving conflict is a big one. I have a lot of conversations with students about conflict they didn't expect to have, honestly, because they don't realize how much that's affecting what they do with their life. And again, that goes along with stress and anxiety. Sometimes that's academic, sometimes it's personal, sometimes it's pressure that they're putting on themselves. And sometimes it's just the hardship of being a human being and they need someone to support them through that. And then this last one, I laugh every time I see it because mastering procrastination is literally probably the first thing every student brings up to me. They're just like, I procrastinate all the time. And I'm like, usually procrastination is the symptom of a bigger thing. Usually something else is up. And I really just like to look at students and say, what up with that? What's going on? Why is that happening in your life? Usually there's a lot of pieces to that puzzle. I'll also say, I don't think I've ever coached a student on procrastination where they had the same issue as another student. every student I have coached on procrastination, it's always a different thing that's causing it. And I love noting that because I think it's super important to give thought to that, because it can be a different thing every semester and in a different circumstance of their life. So this next thing that I want to show you, we're going to show you a little video testimonial of a student who is has been a part of the coaching program. I happen to know her before the coaching started with her. And I want to just tell you, Britt is a high performing 4.0 pre-med student at the time of this interview. She's now in med school. We don't serve any particular kind of student. And I just want to make note of that for you. We have students that are struggling to make a GPA where they would not be on, we have academic probation students. We have students that are pre-med students. We have students that are just doing life. And so I wanted to tell you that and let you know that coaching really appeals to all types. We even coach staff. And so we care to be present with them and present with whatever their circumstances are, whether it's high achieving or just struggling to make ends meet academically or personally. So here's Britt for you.
My name is Brittany. I am a senior here at Tech. I feel pretty anxious, but it's a good feeling of like excitement and anxiety combined in a nice soup bowl. I would tell a freshman coming to Tech to get involved and to find friends on campus that have similar aspirations as them. I know that's personally what helped me kind of find my place here in this community. Just the experiences you get with those people kind of build your character and emerge you in the community. I started life coaching about a month and a half ago. And I was introduced to life coaching from one of my good friends, Sarah. And it's been going good. It was kind of an experience at first to get used to, like kind of a bit of like uncomfortableness or just kind of shy at first. And then as I got to know my life coach, it kind of opened up a bit more. It was a lot easier for us to talk about things and to kind of set plans for next week, because he was starting like to see me develop and he kind of knew me more as a person, which made it easier for us to talk and then work towards my goals. What I like most about the coaching experience is that I can just talk to Thomas and he's someone that understands and gives a different perspective than someone else like my friends or my families, for example. I think the coaching seems kind of scary at first because not everyone thinks like, oh, I need life coaching, but you don't have to need life coaching in order to go to life coaching. I didn't think I needed it, but why not try it? Because there's no harm in trying life coaching. That was my like initial perspective on it. I was like, I don't need life coaching. I'm going to med school, but because I'm going to med school, I would like life coaching. So it's just kind of the perspective you put on it. It doesn't have like a negative, like, I don't know, like influence or like negative stigmatism about it. It's just do it, try it.
I want to mention at the end of that video that Texas Tech genuinely cares about your students and genuinely cares about the kind of experience they're having here. And as I mentioned before, I as a Tech alum am so proud of my university for caring about the needs of these students and the needs that they are encountering, especially after the few years that we've had. So I'll let Claudia give us our final bit of information, but I want to thank you for watching that.
Yes. So this is a little information on how to find us. So we are located in Drain Hall 227. Your students will know it because we are across from the new 7 Brews. So we're directly across the street from them. That's our email and phone number there. They can schedule with us through the new system, Raider Success Hub, which is where they schedule with their advisors. So they should be pretty familiar with it. We're located under coaching, the teams tab, and then coaching. So there's a little how-to snippet there. But we have a website now, so we can be found at ttu.edu/UCSA. So have your students check us out. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat there. Also, we have a brief survey, if you don't mind filling that out to give us some feedback on the presentation itself. You can also put any questions there and we can get back to you by phone or email to make sure we're answering everything you need us to. So thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate your time and listening about university coaching. Hope your students check us out.
Thank you both. What a great presentation. I don't know about y'all, but I want to go talk to Sarah and Claudia. This has been really fantastic. So please do use that Q&A feature to enter any questions that you have. We are at 12:30, but we will stay on and answer those questions for you. While you're thinking about your questions, I have a couple of announcements that I just wanted to share. This is of interest to parents and family members. We do have Family Weekend coming up next fall. We just announced the date. It's for September 29th and 30th. If you want to attend, or if you even think you might want to attend, go ahead and make those hotel reservations. And then another announcement I wanted to make is spring break is happening real soon. If your student needs a ride home to Houston, San Antonio, or Austin, there's still seats available on those bus trips. And we've just put the link in the chat for you. So I, again, just want to thank our coaching team. This is an incredible resource for your students. I hope that you encourage your students to take advantage of this. We're going to go ahead and stop our recording and turn off our video. But if you still have questions or you're still typing, don't worry. We will stay a little bit to answer any of those questions that you may have. I've put our contact information up on the screen for you. So please feel free to type those questions or follow up with us afterwards. Thanks, everybody.